Okay, I'm ready to start now.
The class is actually a reading class, so there will be a little bit of reading you will be doing, but not everyone will have to read the big pamphlet, and I'll be showing a video about a particular artist. Before we start, I want to talk about what we did already and how we're going to use what you already know, and something else I'm going to show you to do something like what you'll see on the screen momentarily. Okay, here I have 3 pieces of paper. This piece of paper has the outside of the flower. This piece of paper has the inside of the flower. This piece of paper has the stem and the leaf. Is there someone in the room that would be willing to demonstrate what it is you think you are supposed to do with these 3 papers if I told you to put a flower onto a blank sheet? Who could do that? Would you know what to do?
You.
Can you hold it one more time? So I can see. Good job.
Okay, so you see that now she has the whole flower on this sheet of paper. Raise your hand if you have ever heard of a stencil. A stencil. About half. So here's a piece of paper. And this is a stencil. This is a sponge, and here's some paint. If I put a little bit of paint on this sponge, you'll see that I'll be able to get this shape onto this piece of paper.
And I can even do the last one with a very little bit of paint and have it look rather than solid.
When we use our stencils on this lesson, you'll be creating multiple shapes, multiples of the same thing, more than one shape. This is the type of symmetry. Right now, tell me what kind of symmetry this is. This is a type of symmetry. Can somebody read the board, raise their hand, and tell me what type of symmetry this is? Justin? Yeah, translation, when it's just the same thing over again. The one where we folded the sheet in half is just reflection, and the one where we had the paper that we were tracing going around the center of our other sheet was called rotation. Now, when we do our assignments using stencils, you might be doing some glide reflections if you want to, and you will be doing some translation for sure as you create the same shape again and again on a background. Now, before we do all that, we're going to take some time to learn about an artist. When we do this assignment, some people will be writing a paragraph or 2 about Andy Warhol and using it on their artwork. Some people might write just some things about Andy Warhol and display it next to their artwork. Some people might not even write about Andy Warhol at all. So, before we go too much further, the first thing I need to know is who would be willing to write a couple of paragraphs. This is only 3 pages of information. Is there anybody that likes to write about other people, that wants to learn a little bit about Andy Warhol? This is just a small pamphlet. Anymore? I'm hoping for about 1 person for each table to actually want to be looking at this piece of this pamphlet that's a little bit bigger than the rest.
Anybody else? Not right now. This is, you pass 1 to Brittany and 1 to I'm just going to have it at your table. Anybody over there? Here, just put this on the table over there.
Raise your hand if I ask you to write some sentences about an artist, you'd be willing to write some sentences. I'll just put the paper down on the table.
Any artists we can?
This is for people that would be willing to write some sentences. You said you want to write some paragraphs, right?
So we can write about anybody we want?
No, I will explain all that later. Would we want to write some sentences about Andy Warhol? Okay, this last sheet I'm passing out is for those people who would be willing to write a couple of words about Andy Warhol, literally.
No, I'm good.
A couple of words. Everybody has to write something.
Oh, I do the words. No, I'm doing the words.
Okay, right now, everybody should have one sheet of paper in front of them or a packet in front of them. Okay, what I need you to do, is flip all of the papers over till they are showing a blank side up. Some of the things that you think are important, and I might tell you what's right. The first thing for you to do would be to write his name down. Andy Warhol. A-N-D-Y. His last name is Warhol. W-A-R-H-O-L. He was involved in something called a pop art movement. It was a movement, meaning a group of artists doing similar things. So the word movement should be on your paper. If you want to, you can write down that he got a nickname, the Prince of Pop. It's important to know, and we'll talk about it again, that he studied commercial art when he went to school. I'm going to write commercial art down on the board over here so that we can discuss it. Now, here's what he decided to do as a pop artist. He decided to paint things that people saw every day on store shelves or on TV. And one of the more important things, as far as we are concerned, that he did was to create multiples. I can go back through Google and find some other images, but you can see this is the same thing again and again with different colors. That is what we are going to be using our stencils to do. Okay, now I'm going to play the video, and there will be words on the bottom of the screen. I am not going to read the words. What you are going to do is you are going to look at the screen and read what it says. I'm not going to tell you what's right. I would like you to pick a few things to write down that you think are important. It's only 4 minutes long. Okay, who can raise their hand and tell me why he painted soup cans? Right down? Reminded him of his childhood. Why else did he paint soup cans besides it reminding him of his childhood? Why did it remind him of his childhood?
Because he got
Yeah. When he was sick, he was eating soup all the time. What did Andy Warhol think everyone would be in the future for a short amount of time? Everyone would be what for a short amount of time? Famous. He wanted to be famous. He wanted to be known. Okay, before we go, I need you to take a couple minutes to think. So I need you all to think of one simple thing. The name of one simple object that's important to you. Something, yeah, and write the name of it down on that sheet. An important object or product. Something that has meaning to you. Phone, basketball, football, good. Oh my God. That'd be only an individual icon.
I know.
Thanks, Gary. Doing all that tapping.